Hey, folks, welcome to the Generational Gap. I'm Robert, your resident Gen Xer, and right over there, that's John, your resident millennial. John, how are you doing this evening?
Pretty okay.
John, you ignorant slut. Um, no, it just felt good to say. I say it just that always creeps in my mind. So not
Did
fan
you?
fucking tastic, right? Okay.
Nope, not
Again,
yet.
you're letting me down, John. You seem despondent. That's sad. Hey, but you know what? If maybe this will cheer you up. If you look over there, where I'm looking, I see that we have Random Randy in the chat. I see Jay Edgar. I see Wyatt
Oh
from the
yes.
Breakdown with Birkenhoff, and I see Saint. We are harlots tonight. Thank you.
I've kind
I
of missed bitches. It's
no,
a
no, 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 no,
classic.
no, 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 no. A
Kind of
harlot.
miss bitches though. It's classic though. I mean, like
Uh,
he's
you
it's
know,
just like his shtick.
uh, harlot. Harlot brings to mind a certain, I don't know,
Elegance.
a certain level of class to the slut,
Yeah.
right? Like that's like a step up above slut, right? Which I like. You know, you could call me a slut and it'd probably be point on, but if you call me a harlot, I feel a little better about myself.
Yeah.
You know, like I do it with a little bit more sexiness. I really sell it,
Yeah.
you know, when I'm trying to.
You cost a lot more.
Yes, I can definitely ask for higher prices as a harlot,
Yeah. Right.
if I wanted to go that route. But hey, guys, do me a favor, hit that like button. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button as well. But I figure you might have, seeing as how you're here. But you never know.
Seeing as how we know all of you guys, we know who you are.
Um, maybe
We
you,
know you watch podcasts.
right? Right?
Yeah.
We know where you live. Let's just put it
Well, I
that
didn't
way.
say that.
Um,
We know the general geographic location of where you are. Like,
Ed, that is correct. Jane is usually the ignorant slut, but
that is me.
for the time being, John is the proxy.
Yeah, I'm standing in as ignorant slut of the night.
Um, so, you had anything interesting go on over the last couple of days, John? Anything fun and exciting? Got anything fun and exciting coming up? Anything wonderful in your life? Any man on the street kind of moments? Anything happening?
I'm going to visit Midget Beach tomorrow, so that'll be fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
Are you gonna take part in any kind of
debauchery.
activism while you're there?
Oh, activism? No,
No, good. Okay.
no.
Um, will you, you know, you're going to, just to visit?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Something
Um,
like that. Like,
if you could you, you know, normally I give him a prostate exam, you know,
oh yeah,
because
I'll
I'm
do.
like, you know, I've been certified to do prostate exams and he likes to get them from me. So if you could, I've shown you how to do it.
I'm
You,
sorry,
if
but I
you,
don't think a degree from Sex University is first of all real or accredited. So,
it is real, like you can touch it. Uh, so, it is real in the material world. Um, you
right.
know, maybe more so in the metaphysical world to a certain extent as well. But no, you know, I've briefed you on how to do it. So if you could just take care of that while you're up there,
Yeah, I'll
you know,
do my
just
best.
tell him I suggested you do it for me, and you can let me know however things checks out.
Mhm.
You know, he won't argue much.
Not much.
Not
Not
much.
when I'm done with him.
Not much. Not much. 3 beers in, he doesn't argue at all.
It's
I'm just saying.
true.
I'm just saying. But synonym courtesan. Oh, nice. See,
Yeah, this is
courtesan,
true.
harlot. See, I love it. I love
Courtesans,
it.
I think, are even more elegant, more like high status than a harlot is.
Yeah.
You know.
Your volume is kind of faded out there for a moment. I
Oh,
mean,
fun. That's
um,
fun.
not sure if you're doing anything funky, but just be careful. You know, it could be gremlins. Gremlins.
Probably gremlins.
New NPC G's, new PC gremlins, right?
Yeah.
Right. That'll do it
Yeah.
to you. I've dealt with those in the past, as we all are aware, I'm sure.
Oh,
So,
yes, I remember those days.
hey, I kind of had some stuff I wanted to talk about, as the title suggests. Wanted to talk about a little bit about religion and false prophets, and you know, and get your libertarian take on it.
Okay.
When from your standpoint, what your call it brand of libertarianism, right? Where you
Okay. Yeah.
and how we deal with these kind of things that but a couple of other things that I wanted to talk about real quick that were just kind of present news. I thought it was interesting to me to find out today that the National Rifle Association has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Right? Did you see anything about this today?
No.
So apparently, this is associated with there's a criminal or a case against them in New York. The New York Attorney General Letitia James um, it sued them and trying to get them to dissolve the group. They accused them of illegal conduct, including diversion of money away from charitable mission of the organization for personal use by senior leadership, basically mismanagement of money
Typical
and
corruption.
right.
Yeah.
So
Things that you can get any company on, I'm sure, or any
so
organization on. Yeah.
right, right. They've been doing business as an organization in New York for 150 years. That's been their base of operations, right? And they're this is I guess this is the straw that broke the camel's back. But I mean, okay, if you've got corruption, you've got corruption, right? I mean, you remember there was all the bullshit that was going on with the NRA and the
Yeah.
so Barlona, whatever her name was, the Russian spy girl and all of that, and
Right.
promoting the NRA over in Russia and money going whatever. So, that makes me curious as to what they might find the more they dig, because usually if you follow money, if there's corruption and you follow money, you'll usually ferret out a lot of the
Yeah.
corruption, more corruption that's there.
Oh, yeah.
But the NRA said, fuck this. We don't want to be in New York anymore. So part of what they're doing with this Chapter 11 is they are going to be moving out of New York and becoming a nonprofit organization and setting up in a new location. Where do you think it is? It should be easy.
Virginia.
No, come on.
Um,
Better. Come on. Where's the one place you could just really see the NRA
oh,
thriving?
Texas.
Texas. They are
Yeah.
headed to Texas. Now, it's
Everyone
interesting.
and their mother's going to Texas. That's why I thought it was maybe more complicated than that. Because, like, for real, everyone and their mother is going to either Texas or Tennessee. It's like the two places that everyone's moving to right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me check something. You're still kind of going in and out on that, and I don't know why. But no, it's
I'm
not.
trying to
It's
adjust
not on my
this.
end coming in. But just keep that FYI.
All
Um,
right.
but now it's interesting that this this is the attorney general is saying that this is makes it obvious that something corrupt was going on, or they wouldn't be pulling this to try and get you know be relieved of their debts, as it were, and get the fuck out, right? But this comes on the heels of Texas trying to planning to put legislation forward to move forward with secession again.
Yeah.
It's interesting that those two things that's happening now, right? Um, so what does the NRA become in a free and independent Texas? Right? Does that become the new church? Is that what that is?
I don't
They're
think so.
they're
No,
gonna
but
they're gonna be a nonprofit. So,
oh yeah. No, I
but
mean people are pretty pissed off with NRA. Like even conservative stuff with the NRA.
uh,
So
yeah, well
I don't know about all that.
they were doing a lot of stuff, and and not only were they was it talked about that they were putting a lot of pressure on members and things like this, but they even said that they were they doled out lucrative no-show contracts to former employees in order to buy their silence and continued loyalty. So basically, paid people don't come to your job anymore ever again, and
Mhm.
stay strong with the NRA. Here's a whole bunch of money.
Hmm.
you know, go relax, chill. We'll call it a severance package.
Sure,
Although
I
it's
want that.
right, although it's more like a severance yacht.
I want that deal.
Yeah, well, but you don't want to be do you want to be in an organization like that? So, I
But
find
you
that
wouldn't be anymore, right? You wouldn't be part of that organization, so
right. I find it, I don't know. I find the NRA troubling in the present day. They've given me a lot of pause over the last few years, and just the stance that they've taken and things that I've, of
yeah.
course, corruption can't live for long in the present society. Did you just say something? You kind of.
I mean, yeah, they no, no. They fucked up though, and in several ways. Obviously, whatever kind of corruption thing they're having, obviously that's one thing. But they've also their policy has been, I don't know for how long, for quite some time, has been appeasement. Like they have accepted much more gun legislation than they should have, and without fighting it or conceding to it, whatever. That's what they did. So yeah, I mean, it's like it's time to cut losses and find another organization like Saint is suggesting there. He says the GOA, the Gun Owners of America, is a better group to support, and I agree. Yeah, they're much smaller. They don't have the massive amounts of corruption, as far as we know. So
Well, let me ask you
yeah,
this: could the argument be made? I don't know. Hopefully, this won't sound stupid, but could the argument be made that if the federal government had not infringed on gun owners' rights in the very beginning with any laws surrounding the Second Amendment, that the NRA would have never had to walk down a corrupt path to try and keep that from happening.
well, if we hadn't had gun laws to infringe in the first place, they wouldn't have existed. There wouldn't have been a space for them because, like, why do you need a political activist group or something that isn't an issue?
Yeah, yeah. See that makes sense. So
Yeah.
is it their fault then? See, could they make that argument that
I don't think, no, you can't put
infringement
the
on the
blame.
Second Amendment is the whole reason for their existence,
No,
and it's an
you can't put
infringement?
the blame squarely on their. Yeah, you can't put the blame squarely on the NRA's shoulders. I mean, it's all of our fault.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is the NRA put the blame on the federal government, to try and get out of, and get out from under all that shit. You know,
Oh well, yeah, yeah, but they're lobbyists. I mean, that's kind of what they do.
sure, but the
They're one
federal
of the many
government,
lobbyists out
by
there.
trying to force more regulation on guns, they forced lobbyists to, you know, go these routes. They forced the NRA to go these routes to try and
Yeah,
protect your Second Amendment rights, John.
I think they've
That's what
made
they've
too
tr-
many concessions.
that's what they've tried to do. And yes, they had to walk the corrupt line, just like the corrupt people they were dealing with. What else could they do, John? It was all to preserve your Second Amendment rights.
How'd that work out?
I mean, you know, trust me, that's an emotional appeal that would work for somebody, right, out there in the general public. People would be like, yeah. All right. Anyway, but also, they Pelosi came out today and said that they're actually going to be investigating all the Capitol logs and the security from the days previous to the riot there, the insurrection, whatever the keyword they want it to be called is. Um, but they are they're without she didn't come right out and say it, but they basically have suspicion that there were congressmen or congresspeople that were actually giving tours in the couple of days prior to the incident around the Capitol building and basically helping them case the joint, right? And she says, she said that, and apparently she got teary eyed. She got choked up talking about
Oh
it.
no.
She says, if in
Poor
fact
Pelosi.
it is found that members of Congress were accomplices to this insurrection, if they aided and abetted the crime, there may have to be actions taken beyond the Congress in terms of prosecutions. Um, but she was really upset about all the racism and bigotry that was going on, that was being displayed because of, well, there was the Camp Auschwitz T-shirt the guy was wearing, and and
Oh
Nazi,
no.
the Nazi symbol and things like
Fuck
this,
off. Whatever.
right?
She doesn't care about that. She doesn't give two shits about that. Spare me.
Well, somebody gave a shit about it, John, and they gave that shit all
Pelosi,
over the
spare me.
Capitol building. They stomped
Oh
it
my
and they
god.
wiped it.
Oh my god.
No, I mean, I'm not mocking it. I don't. I wish it hadn't happened, but yeah, they're
Yeah, but
they're
this
going to go
fucking
after
fake
congressmen.
outrage, though.
They're going
That
to.
fake outrage
This
is
is the.
just.
But do you remember they talked about the list of people that should face some sort of criminal uh, charges
Yeah, they do love their
for
list, don't
supporting
they?
Trump? Remember when like AOC or
Yeah.
somebody was putting out, this is how they get there. This is how they get there.
Yep.
Now I wonder how common it is for congressional people to show constituents around the Capitol building. I can
Yeah.
almost see that as a thing that they would be expected to do, right? If somebody comes all the way from your constituency to see the Capitol building and you're there, you should meet them, right? Kind of
Yeah.
like be an employee on hand, as it were, a
Right. They're
public
kind of, yeah,
servant,
you're kind of working for them.
right? Hey, the boss is here. Uh, let me go out here and say hello to him, right?
If only that's actually how it worked, though.
Right? Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be pretty freaking sweet.
Congressman, blah blah blah. Your boss is here. Could you please come to the front and give them a tour of the Capitol
That's
building?
right, damn it.
Schlep them around, please.
Yeah, in fact, I want a tour of Congress from Stephanie Murphy, our Congresswoman. That's who I want.
Wonder how easy it is to go there and ask for that. Well, or how easy it used to be, I should say. I think
Yeah. Oh
that's
no,
all
you
turned
used to be
changed.
able to, you used to be able to go into the White House and walk up to the president and say, "Hey, Mr. President, I don't like that you're doing this." That used to be a thing you could do. You could just walk on in. Doors were unlocked. You just go in. Like,
You froze.
excuse me, which way to the which way to the Oval Office?
Right?
Sorry.
Right.
Hey, you just go to somebody and be like, hey, which way to the Oval Office? Oh, over there. All right, and then you go over there and just be like, hey, Mr. President, this is bullshit. And then sometimes, depending on the president, he might kick your ass. Might
Well,
actually get into a fist fight with the president. That happened in history. I
yeah.
think it
So
was who was it? Was it Roosevelt who had like a fist fight with somebody who came and told him what he was doing was bullshit, and he ended up like having a fist fight with the guy. I think it might have been Roosevelt, but I'm not 100% on that. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, you used to be able to just go up and just
video, or it didn't happen.
well, they didn't have.
I know, right? Dude, I'm
Not
sketching
my
this as
fault.
fast as I can. Throw the punches
Yeah.
slower.
Right. Yeah.
um, but all right, but now our guy, our shaman, um, he's not helping things, and I can't figure this guy out. And you know the shaman I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
can say the
Everyone knows.
shaman, and I
Yeah.
think most people understand who I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
As if he was like some kind of leader or something there. He just happened to be the most quirkily dressed one there. As far as I know. They're like, no, he's the entire spokesman for the riot.
Right, right.
Stop.
No, but I
Yeah.
mean, he was at the head of the group heading down those stairs. And, he's like prominently featured as one of the major images from the insurrection, as it were. But So he's not helping Trump's case out because apparently in one of his statements after he was arrested, he basically said that, he talked about all the things leading up to it, and we marched on the Capitol like we were, he asked us to, we did it for Trump, basically is what, you know, we did like he asked
Yeah.
us to, and we marched on. I'm like, okay, well, you're not helping his case, you know,
Right.
but but now he's also apparently made the claim that he's an alien.
Okay, so I think that we
And
don't want him in court on either side.
right.
We don't
And
want him to help try and prosecute Trump either, because it's like he thinks he's an alien. Like
well,
his
well,
testimony is out. Come on.
let me ask you this.
That
Is it possible that
he
he's building this, he's just playing this
is an alien?
persona? No, not that he is an alien, but he's building a persona to building this character out to where he can try and plead insanity in some way,
I don't know. You and I
like
both
that
saw
he's
his
not mentally
eyes,
stable.
and like I said, we both know the eyes of a man who has done a lot of hallucinogens in his life. He might legitimately believe this stuff.
I mean, because if they thought he was mentally unstable, that could save him from like some major years
Sure.
in federal penitentiary.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So that's what I keep wondering with this guy, because just all these little things. But,
Maybe.
he's, now he is, I keep seeing little bits about him. And so he's one of these things that, keeps making me think about false prophets and kind of the topic that I wanted to talk to you about tonight, because this is 2020 has been a hell of a year, even to the point where you know a lot of people have started looking at it from a biblical sense, and whether or not this is like, you know okay, this could be the end times, this, that, and the other.
Oh
Of
God.
course, right, there's lots of those kind of prophets out there. One guy just passed
Yeah.
away. I saw an article on him, and but I go looking at it, and it's like, oh, well, he was saying that basically we would be looking at the rapture, or
Hmm.
Jesus coming back by 2028, but he died, and so he's got these. But then you pull him up, and what was ironic is you pull him up, and you search on his name, and I did this, and like the third Google hit on this guy's name is a case that he was arrested for back in the late 80s, where he had tried to bribe a cop to get another guy, maybe a parishioner of his, because he was the head of a Baptist church, um, off for some. It was a plastic surgeon who was accused of sexual harassment on patients while they were under. And this kind of thing, and
Okay.
one of them involving a 12-year-old girl. But
Oh, good.
but
Yeah, that's real
apparently
fun.
the case was getting thrown out. But at the same time, he tried to bribe someone with $36,000 to try and like help make the case go away, and so he gets in trouble for that. And I'm like, okay, so your credibility kind of gets iffy as a
Uh,
as a religious figure for a moment here.
so that's
You know,
another thing is I thought the rapture and the Antichrist and all that, I thought that was like unique to Catholicism. I could be
um,
wrong on that, but I'm pretty
Christianity,
sure.
there's a lot of Christians that aren't just, it's not just specific to Catholicism, that the idea of
Hmm.
the, the not the apocalypse,
The rapture,
the
especially.
revelations, that
Yeah.
there are prophetic revelations for the end times,
Yeah. Fair enough.
and because like most religion, Christian religions, view the whole Israel state, Palestine, the whole thing. They understand the importance of that, and they still hold some credence to that. It's not strictly for Catholicism, right? And one of the markers, of course, is that during Trump's presidency, he recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. So a lot of people are saying that was the marker. One of the markers in Revelations is the birth of Israel, and by declaring it, outside of someone else recognizing it like that, that constituted the birth of Israel. Um,
Right.
so, but and I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, so these are the times that create a lot of a lot of people are who start to lean towards spiritualism in some way, shape, or another in these difficult and traumatic times, right? I mean, it's just like this. We all have this need to a certain extent, no matter how, depending on how much we control it, to something greater than us to look for to help guide us, and whatever spiritualism you have, that's what it is, right? But you were raised, in a
Catholic.
Catholic home,
Yeah.
right? Much like I was.
Yeah.
So you understand how important it is for people, and how in troubling times, when things are difficult, people tend to lean heavier upon, right?
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah.
And so this has been a big year for that. Like I think this is probably, we're going to see some impact of that. But one thing that I've always been troubled by is the organized religions, and oftentimes these mega churches, these big
Hmm.
religious leaders, right? Oral Roberts, Jimmy Swaggart, was it Jimmy Swaggart, right? Tammy Faye Baker, Jimmy and Tammy Faye Baker,
Oh,
um,
Jim. Yeah, Jim Baker. Yeah,
Jim
I remember.
Baker.
He had those like end of the world buckets that he would sell full of
Right.
food, like nasty ass food. Yeah.
So whenever I get the First Amendment. Okay, we'll make no laws to basically to support a religion or to infringe upon a religion, right? That's
Right.
what the First Amendment says. We'll be beholding to no religion. We won't make laws against you.
Right.
But um, you know, I I came across something that happened in December. You're familiar with Inside Edition, right?
Vaguely.
They gotcha journalism, kind of like
Right.
your paparazzi kind of, whatever what's
Yeah.
the place that does the paparazzi? TMZ,
TMZ.
right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, but they go after these hard hitting stories. But it was an interview that Inside Edition reporter, jumped basically jumped Kenneth Copeland. Are you familiar with Kenneth Copeland?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
huge, right? Got the
Right.
just huge ministry. But she ambushed him, and she wanted to talk to him. And when I watched this, I was like, Jesus, right? It's just even a non-believer, I'm just like, wow, how do you let this go on? If you're there, God, how do you let this happen? But I came up with the question constantly: how does something like this exist in a libertarian world? How do libertarians, if you are trying to have a libertarian society, can something like this exist? And you'll see, whenever I play this, you'll hear him. Um,
Okay.
but that's what I'm trying to figure out, is how religion really factors into the libertarian society, especially with the extents that religion goes to. Um,
Hmm.
but I'll share it with you, because I'm a
Cool.
nice guy. I want you to hear it and
Yeah.
see it.
Gonna be good to be familiar with the topic I'm about to
Yeah,
discuss.
yeah.
you know,
I like that too.
generally a
I
good
think
idea.
that's a good thing. But have a listen and see what you think about this piece of
All right.
whatever. Oh, Elephant Man's here, by the way. How are you
Hi,
doing,
Elephant.
Elephant Man?
Why have you said that you won't fly commercial? You said that it's like getting into a tube with a bunch of demons. Why do you think that?
No, no, listen to me just a second. Not the people. The main reason is because of the need. If, if I flew commercial, I'd have to stop 65% of what I'm doing. That's really the main.
Isn't it true that you want to fly commercial so that you can fly in luxury? How much money did you pay for Tyler Perry's Gulfstream jet, for example?
Well, for example, that's really none of your business. But,
Isn't it the business of your donors?
listen, I paid. You kind of caught me off guard here, okay?
If you like.
Now, should, does that do you cringe a little right there?
Yeah, he's definitely trying to he's like going from travel mode / normal like Kenneth mode
Right.
to like preacher mode. He's trying to make that shift, and she won't let him get there. Like he's gotta like he's really trying to get into this
Right.
like different mindset.
Oh yeah.
Come out here, I'd like to give you a chance to catch your breath and have a conversation. We don't want to catch you off guard.
I love Inside Edition. You got to get this now. Hey, you listening to me? My wife thinks Inside Edition is, oh yeah. Now, thank you, Lord. Help me. Let me pray.
Well, let me just ask you a really simple question. A lot of people think it's unbecoming for a preacher to live a life of luxury and to fly around in private jets. What's your response to that?
Very simple. It takes a lot of money to do what we do. We have brought over 100, let's see, the latest figures just came out. 122 million people to the Lord Jesus Christ. Let me give you another example. Last May, I was scheduled for Lagos, Nigeria. That's a long ways. I had a week off, and I was scheduled for Peru. And I prayed about it, and I thought, I'm not missing that dedication in Jerusalem. Without the airplane that we have that I bought from Tyler Perry, and I didn't pay anywhere. Tyler's one of the greatest guys. He made that airplane so cheap for me, I couldn't help but buy it.
Well, my question then, okay, all right, but I want to get to the.
Did you hear what he just said? Like, girl, can you believe how cheap that dress was? I saved 60%. I can't believe how cheap they made it. They were almost giving it away.
Demons, because people are very concerned about that comment.
Give me a chance here, Inside Edition. I love your eyes. And here's what happened. We flew in 21 days, 70 hours, 40,000 miles, touched 5 continents, and preached face to face personally with 125,000 people.
Do you ever use your private jets to go visit your vacation homes, for example?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Again, getting back to the comment. You said that you don't like to fly commercial because you don't want to get into a tube with a bunch of demons. Do you really believe that human beings are demons?
No, I do not. And don't you ever say I did.
Hey, are you looking at what I think you're looking at?
What?
Well, the chat's saying that they don't have any donate buttons.
Oh yeah, I mean you can't trust Ed.
No. Elephant Man is saying it.
You can't give no lemons. Oh.
Right, they can't donate for some reason. They don't have.
That doesn't make sense. Why would that be gone?
I don't know. Did we get in trouble on DLive for something?
I don't know how. Maybe that's really weird. I don't know.
That's crazy. John's looking into it, and maybe.
Yeah, because I'm on the generational gap DLive, so I don't think I can donate to ourselves. So it's never there anyway. Maybe try refreshing. I guess I don't know. I have no idea what the deal is with that.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean we want your donation.
I don't remember being bad, and I don't remember.
No, I don't remember that.
Getting any alerts from DLive about anything.
It's just on our channel apparently.
Whoa.
Fun.
That sounds specific. I have to check our emails and see if anything came that we missed.
We've got 47 followers on DLive. Like we're not on anybody's radar.
It doesn't mean we didn't do something wrong.
I've never heard of that happening before to anybody else, though. So
Well,
I don't
John,
know.
you've never heard about evolution either. That doesn't mean it didn't happen.
But I have though. So
Anyway,
yeah, let's
did
keep
you
going
see
with this
that? Did
guy.
you see a look on his face? Look at him. Don't you ever say that. I thought he was going to change into a werewolf right then.
Looks like he looks very lizard-like. Obviously, it's a plastic surgery that he's gotten, but he looks very lizard-like.
We wrestle not with flesh and blood,
Those
but
smiles.
principalities and powers.
Can you explain what you meant by that term then? Just explain, because it's really simple. You said you didn't want to get into a tube with a bunch of demons. What did you mean?
Well, let me ask you.
Do you think that people that fly commercial are demons?
If you give me a chance to talk, sweetheart, I'll explain this to you. But it's a biblical thing. It's a spiritual thing. It doesn't have anything to do with people. People, I love people. Jesus loves people. But people get pushed in alcohol. Do you think that's a good place for a preacher to be and prepare to go preach to a lot of people? When somebody in there is dragging some woman down an aisle, it made me so mad to see that on television. I wanted to punch the guy out myself. I can't be doing that while I'm getting ready to preach.
So you just don't like to be around the sinful people or the hurtful people. Is that what you're saying?
Not the people, baby. Not the people. Back during the days that we couldn't do anything else, we had to travel commercial. When I went to Oral Roberts University, I flew for Oral Roberts. I'm a commercial pilot. So I spent a lot of time in airplanes.
You have how many planes?
We have the Gulfstream, and we still have our Citation team. And then we have a little small airplane. But both those are the two ones that we use, and we use them all the time. And other people use them too. We have other ministries that use them. In the book of Ephesians, oh God, I love this. We wrestle not with people, but with principalities and powers, unseen things, rulers of the darkness of this world. Talking about the devil, he's a very real devil, just the same as Jesus is a very real Lord. And I spent a lot of time on airlines. But the main thing that happened that wasn't the main reason. The main reason was I could no longer do what I called to do and be on the airlines. Besides that, I need my clothes when I get there.
And you have some fancy clothes. I mean,
do.
for a pastor, you are living a life of luxury. You've got great homes, you've got great planes, you drive in limos.
I'm a very wealthy man.
You're a very wealthy man.
Right there.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, howdy. When he said that, I'm just, wow. He's just like nodding happy, agreeing with, I sure do. I do. Yeah, I'm a very well.
Yes.
Yeah. And some people would say that is it appreciate?
May I add something to that? My wealth doesn't come from offerings alone.
Right.
Because you sell things, books and DVDs.
Yes. And I have a lot of natural gas on our property. Didn't know that, did you, babe?
Now I do.
Yeah, you do. Isn't that wonderful?
Well, I guess. It's wonderful for you.
Back when, and I might add another thing too. We invest from, let's see, I don't know the exact number on last year yet, but it will run something in the neighborhood of 25 million in the poor. Can't do that and be broke.
So final question is, a lot of people maybe have a misunderstanding then about what you do in prosperity preaching. So the final question is this. To those critics that say that a preacher should not be living a life of luxury, what is your response to that?
They're wrong.
That's it?
That it's a misunderstanding of the Bible
That's what I wanted to hear.
If you go into the Old Covenant, do you think the Jewish people believe you should be broke?
Are you saying that Jewish people appreciate money more than
Jews?
They believe in wealth.
Some people would find that offensive.
No, wait a minute now. I'm not talking about some people. I'm talking about the Bible. The blessing of Abraham. Abraham was extremely wealthy, and he had a covenant with God. It's not the Jewish blessing, it's the Abrahamic blessing. God, I get excited talking about it because I love it. And I started out deep in debt with nothing, which is another story. But anyway.
So you say that it's biblical and that there's a foundation in the Bible for this.
Let me close it with this. I had to learn this, like I said, from the Bible and from my spiritual mentor, Oral Roberts. And I learned it from him, working with him, and then he was close friends until he died. And he took the same heat for believing God would prosper you that I've taken over the years. And Abraham was a very, very wealthy man. Galatians chapter 3. If you belong to Christ, then are you Abraham's seed and heirs according to his promise. And his promise was great wealth.
The Bible also says that it's more difficult for a rich man to get into heaven than it is for a camel to get through the eye of a needle, correct?
The rest of the scripture. But he said, all things are possible with God. And he said, if you study the Greek behind that, it's trusting in wealth. When he said that, his disciples said, they were astonished out of measure because they were wealthy men. They were astonished out of measure, saying, how can anyone be saved? He said, all things are possible with God.
Both of my grandfathers
right,
were
but he
preachers.
also said,
they were
hang
both
on, pause it real quick, because he also dictated to wealthy people to give up their riches, give it to the poor, and follow him. So, no. I'm sorry, Kenneth Copeland. No.
There's a little
all things are possible through Christ. He said, yes, you as a wealthy man can go to heaven. However, this is the path to do it, which is
right.
giving
If you
up
keep
that wealth, denouncing that wealth is
right,
how you.
Right, because he didn't keep on going either, right?
Right, exactly.
Right? It's like you keep on. What does it say next after you're next? Right?
Right.
What does next say?
Very poor. They lived simple, modest lives. They were extremely offended by men that made money like you do, preaching like you do. What would your response be to people that think that preachers shouldn't live this kind of a lifestyle? Folks like both my grandfathers.
And I understand that. And I love them with all my heart. It's your grandfathers that we're standing on their shoulders. They held up and they stood for it. Glory to God. But when you go back to the Bible, it's full of wealth. And it's full of miracles and signs and wonders. And it's full of goodness. And it's full of meanness.
What he's doing right now,
hell on earth. Those are the demons, not the people.
What he's doing right now is the dazzle them with bullshit section. Instead of what's that old phrase, right? If you can't beat them with logic, dazzle them with bullshit, or something like that. If you can't convince them with the truth, dazzle them with bullshit, I think is what it is, something like that. That's the part that he's at right now. He's just throwing all kinds of stuff together, and he's just like, oh, doesn't that sound right? Just because he's saying it with conviction.
Conviction.
Like, oh,
conviction
he must be right.
sells it.
Yeah, he must be right then.
I want to give him.
People will believe it.
I want to give him 10% of everything I have.
Oh God.
I love the people.
Again, getting back to the... Sir, thank you so much for your time
What's your
today.
name?
Lisa Guerrero.
Lisa, God bless, Father bless Lisa today. Thank you for her parents. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to know her.
I bet he's squeezing her hands hard.
Oh, I bet he's crushing the hell out of her fingers.
Her peace will
You see his veins
successful.
popping up and stuff. He's got to be.
I love Inside Edition. I love the people on it. And it thrills me to get a chance to have my face on Inside Edition.
Thank you very much, Reverend. You have a nice day.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much for your...
Okay, the cringe session is now over. So
yeah, Jesus.
I have to go with okay. So now you can't tell me that somebody short of just like the most devout follower could watch that and not see the shit oozing off of this guy, right? Kenneth Copeland. Right. I mean, I've always seen it. He's been around since I was a kid.
Yeah, it's probably to do with more of just he's talking to the people that already follow him, that already, or I guess under the spell of his charisma. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. He's just talking to the people that are already, like I said, under the spell of his charisma.
Right.
Like they're already charmed, if you will. They're there. So he didn't lose anybody. He might have stopped people who were on the fence that might have started to support him, but I don't think he lost any, many, if any, people who are already donating to him, who are already following him from that.
So now the problem I have with ministries like that, with organized religion that takes it to that extent, is that they are protected in that by the First Amendment.
Yeah.
Like they are, as long as they keep their books above board, right? As long as they do, right? And most of what they do gets to go by untaxed.
Right.
And he gets to, they get to live these lives of luxury. He's got 2 or 3 planes. He's, she asked him about all his different house. He's got all this shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's protected by the First Amendment.
Yeah.
And yet, it is so painfully obvious, that it's just a con job.
Right.
And so, okay, that bothers me, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. Yeah. 100%.
I mean, so we look at this very first thing. It's like, you can't, so they literally, there's nothing the federal government can do about it. Is that correct? Like, they're not breaking any laws by scamming
right, as long as
people.
it's not breaking any laws, there's nothing they can do. Yeah.
How is it not? How I wish it could fall. I don't understand how it doesn't fall under false advertising.
Because he's not advertising anything.
No, he's advertising.
I mean, he's selling merch and stuff now. If he was like, the DVDs,
he's selling heaven.
Yeah, but you can't. How can you claim that it's a false, statement that he's making? How can you claim that he's, that what he's selling is false? If he's selling heaven, you'd have to disprove heaven in order to prove false advertising. You can't do that.
I mean, Saint said it was hard to listen to, and I have to agree.
Yeah,
I mean, it is. It's hard to look. Yeah. It's hard to watch his face as he tries to spew that out.
Oh my God, those smiles that he would give, like at mid-sentence, was very awkward, cringe. Like, it's in the middle of a sentence, she's like.
So now in a libertarian society, that would be allowed to thrive as well.
Yeah, of course. So I'll tell you why. So libertarianism, in libertarianism at least, theft obviously is not okay. But what is the difference between a con man and a thief? What's the main difference?
You give.
You voluntarily
right?
give
You
your money
give your
to a
stuff
con
to
man.
them, right?
Right. He has swindled you into giving it to him. It was your choice to give it to him. You weren't forced to. So, in a libertarian society, yes, he would be allowed to do the things that he's doing. And people would be stupid to follow him.
Sorry, I see pagan pogrom Purgato. It looks like is he over there on the line? What was hard to listen to? These two, they're dreamy to listen to. Homo pride exudes from them. That's
yeah,
Homo
that's
pride.
right, man.
Homo sapien pride. Is it Homo sapien pride? Can we have that? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we should
Sure.
do: is start a Homo sapien pride movement.
Oh God, gay.
Come on, think about it.
That's gayer than if than the two of us were actually fucking. Like that's actually gayer than that.
Talk about inclusivity. We can include everybody that's a Homo sapien.
Right. Egalitarian. Right.
We'd have to think of one. We'd have to find something, just one very niche,
right,
something to exude.
Aliens.
Right, you have to have somebody to exude.
Exclude.
Exclude, like the guy at the Capitol. See, right there, we can. Right there, he says he's an alien. We could exclude him, and then he would.
That's what I'm saying. It would have to be something outside of our species.
Well, this we can
right to bring us all together. That's the only way it can happen.
Well, yeah, and
it would be temporary until
that would be the controversy. That would be the controversy that would really catapult us to the top of pride groups.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Definitely, right. But anyway, no. So okay. So let me understand if I'm not mistaken. In a libertarian society, if I come into your house and while I'm in there, I steal $500 and leave, that's a crime.
Right.
However, if I come into your house and I lie, I invite, both of them are invited. I'm saying both are invited.
Both of them are invited.
Right.
Okay.
But I was invited in, but I stole the money while I was there. You had no idea I took it.
Yeah.
But you invite me in and I lie to you and convince you to hand me that $500 on the promise that something better is going to come out of it.
Yeah.
That's okay.
No, it's not okay. It's just not.
It's not illegal.
Theft.
Is it illegal?
No, I would say no, because it's about consent. It's about being voluntary, right? You voluntarily gave your person that money.
Okay, so what about say Bernie Madoff? Would something like that, where he created a Ponzi scheme and convinced lots of people to give him money, and then quote unquote it failed, and he pieced out with all the money? Is that illegal or not in a libertarian society?
No, I don't think it would be. No. Maybe there's libertarians that disagree with me on that, but just applying the principle to it, no, I would say that's not. I would say that I'll bet you that the next time those people that were had by Bernie Madoff, which first of all, his name is Bernie Madoff. I mean, that's a red flag.
Oh, I've always loved the irony of that.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't think he was gonna make off with your fucking money, you didn't look at the business card close enough.
Right. So yeah, but I mean, I'll bet you though, the next time that happens, the next time someone comes to them with like an investment opportunity, I bet they'll be a lot more careful than they were with him.
So you would agree that at one point in our society, probably within the frame of having a constitution, etc., that deals and promises have been struck on a handshake, and that's been honored from a legal sense as binding.
Yeah, I'm sure that's happened.
Okay, see, because like Sergeant Peterson says, he says false promises, that is illegal.
Well, we're not talking about what is illegal now.
Right. So
we're talking about what would be in a libertarian society, what would be legal. We're not talking about what is illegal now. Obviously, what Bernie Madoff did is illegal now. But I'm saying in a libertarian
No, Nephilim, just real quick.
Society, whether or not it would be.
Good to see you tonight. No, John was just trying to establish like if it was a break-in or not. I'm just saying no.
Right.
On equal sides, you were invited in both times, but one time you stole, the other time you just lied and conned them out of their money.
Right.
But it's that bothers me, right? Especially when you see something like that go on in the scope of somebody like a Kenneth Copeland.
And it
right?
should bother you. That is absolutely immoral. That I never made a moral judgment on it. It is immoral to do that. It's immoral to lie to people. It's immoral to, trick people. However, some of the blame lies on them for being tricked. Same thing with like I've been fucking swindled in the past. Not to any kind of great extent, but I've been swindled in the past, and that part of that is on me for being trusting. It's a lesson that you learn.
Now, we have established previously that even though you're a libertarian, you do understand and expect the existence of some sort of authority in society, right? Even if we started exploring libertarianism from a governmental standpoint, we would still have authority, right? To a certain extent, it wouldn't be
even if there was
libertarian society.
Well, even if there was no government, if it was complete anarchist society,
right,
you would still have generally somebody quote unquote in charge.
Yes. So
someone who is a leader rather than a ruler, which is of course is a difference between the two.
See, this is where this blanket authority that the Constitution gives something like religion, primarily organized religion, I should say, right? Because when you break it down, I mean, you can start looking in, getting into the smaller, the minority of religions that are like, the little offshoots or whatever, or the random stuff like voodoo and paganism and everything, Hinduism and recognizing it, but you can't. So the extreme is like, okay, when we start dealing with animal sacrifices, like is it okay for a religion like voodoo to do animal sacrifices?
Right.
You're good with that, yeah, right? I mean, in a libertarian society, that's okay, even though.
Probably, as long as it's your animal, as long as you didn't steal it from. Yeah, I mean, it's your, an animal at least is your property. You can do with it as you wish. Okay. Now, if you want to get into like human sacrifices, that's a totally different thing because now you're infringing on someone else's rights, unless they volunteer to be sacrificed, which is a totally different other moral, dilemma that we could go through. But, I don't know how I would feel about that, but I mean, animals, as they are in the current zeitgeist, are property and not people.
Sergeant Peterson says libertarianism and government are not the same. Libertarianism is government as an HOA, right?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Hey, but you know what? No, I have to tell you though, HOAs are just
sons of bitches. Though
they're horrible in a lot of cases.
Sons of bitches.
Seen some horrible things that HOAs have done just because they could. Shit.
Yeah, I would never voluntarily live in an HOA.
No,
wouldn't do it.
No, I've avoided it. Twice I've bought a home and that was a requirement both times. There no HOA. No. I like to keep my garage open. Right? I like to have my garage door open, but in an HOA I couldn't do that.
And now everyone else does on the internet.
What?
Well, you can keep it open sometimes.
No, not with for short periods of time, right? Like if you're doing something, but like things that you would be doing, like cutting with a saw and shit like that, you need to be doing that in the back of the house anyway, because they don't want you doing that out in the front, because you ruin the curb appeal doing redneck saw cutting out in the front yard.
I don't know. I mean, where.
And did you alert all the neighbors you'd be making that noise? Because we've had a couple of complaints.
That's funny. I've never seen it go that far. Never seen it go that
No, like Sergeant Peterson says he lives in an HOA. He rules it. They fear him. Um, but no, I mean, no. There's just there are times. I'm not saying that this is standard and par for the course that all HOAs are bad. What I'm saying is there have been times where HOAs
Yeah.
have made the news or got noticed for like going too extreme with some of their stupidity. And it's like, but my brother had an HOA and he was fine with it up until the point where it was like, he wanted to put a pool in the back of his house, a pool in the back of his house, right in his
Right.
backyard that you couldn't even see from the street. And he had to go through months of trying to get the HOA to approve him putting a pool in.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. But he also only had three choices of paint that he could paint his house.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
That's like, fuck, man. Just that kind of limiting me. No, I don't want your HOA. You can rule it all you want, but if you can't give me, strawberry glaze or strawberry shortcake, good paint color, nice pinky colored paint for my house, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because after John Cougar Mellencamp, I always want to live in a little pink house. Uh,
Kidding.
hey, it is what it is. Kid's got to have his music, right? So I don't know, John. It is. Would you be of a mind to say that something like a Kenneth Copeland could or could not function as well in a truly libertarian society?
Um, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it depends on the people, right? Like he's got a big following that voluntarily gives him money, which is their right to do. If they want to support him, that's they have every right to support him. So I don't know if he would do as well, or maybe he would do better. I don't know. But he would certainly be able to exist. Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a problem with people having their faith, their religion, their whatever it
Mhm.
is, their spirituality. I don't have a problem with that. But when I can obviously see it doing potential harm and knowing that it probably does, I know, I've seen cases, articles and
Yeah. Sure.
stories through the years of how this old person donated all their, so much money to these ministries and this, that, and the other, but, in a
That
time
happens.
of
Yeah.
need and blah, 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 just crazy stuff. And some ministries have just gotten really tanked because of so much corruption that was going on behind the scenes. I think the
Yeah.
Bakers were a good example of that,
Oh
right?
hell yeah. Yeah.
Right. Um, but there's no way to police it, and
Right.
I don't understand what you can do to destroy the possibility of them having that, because it really makes the
You
rest of the
can't.
religious people look bad. It's like you
Yeah,
got
no, I get that it does. It does. It makes other religious people look bad because as soon as you're like, oh, I'm a Christian, then they're going to be like, oh, what about this guy? And you're going to point to the worst person that they can find. But I mean, you don't have to have that argument, first of all. And secondly, I mean, the best you can do to try and, stop that guy from being as powerful or being as wealthy is to refute him, show the hypocrisy.
how
And some people will leave. It's just like that Insider Edition reporter lady was doing. She was coming at him with the most hard hitting questions that she could find, and he was stumbling like a motherfucker. He was just stumbling like crazy, and it might have showed some people. Like I said, I don't think a lot of people who already are in his camp are going to be convinced by it, but like people who were considering debating could have been. you know. Then all you have to do is just keep showing over and over again. Look, this guy is full of shit. He's a fraud. He's this. He's that. You're not going to get everybody. You're never going to get. There's always going to be stupid people, Robert. No matter what you do, there will always be stupid people, and you cannot protect them all.
It's just sad that
it's not going to happen.
All he has to do is turn around and go on a camera and get in front of a camera the next day and say that Satan tested the ministry. Satan was testing your faith, right? Right, because and this is it's this because it keeps going back to this idea that it winds up being a tool to control people. It is such a strong and heavy yoke to put on a person's neck.
See, the thing
it's one thing to be a believer, but to have people that literally use it against you and try and motivate your actions based off of it. But anyway.
So the thing is, he's no different than the U.S. government, other than that he doesn't force you to give him money. He convinces you. Whereas obviously the government forces you to give them money every year or every 2 weeks or week, however many times you get paid.
Well,
but other than that, there's no different, right? They both dictate how you live. They both preach at you incessantly to try and get you to believe in their dogma. I mean, they're the same thing. At the end of the day, they're the same thing. It's just what method they use to get your money. Either way, they're getting it, though.
Yeah, but it is interesting also that we do have this. We still have this. The bigotry in our country when it comes to religion. Have a temple go up somewhere and watch if there's not outcry depending on where it is, or an Islamic temple. I've had one go up in a neighborhood not far from where I was living and watch some of the uproar that went on because an Islamic temple was coming in.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a rival. I mean, it's a rival, thing popping up. You're gonna want to squash that, yeah.
Hey,
I mean, the three Abrahamic religions have been at each other's throats for thousands of years. I mean,
I don't know.
What are you gonna do? Or 1,000 years, I guess I should say, not thousands, but like at least 1,000 years. I mean, you're not gonna stop that, by just being like, "Hey guys, be tolerant." That's been going on for way too long.
I think. Now, this is just me, but I think that once a group, a religious organization, we'll say a religious organization because we'll call Copeland an organization. We'll call the Holy Roman Catholic Church, right? Because that's very specific to the specific Catholic churches.
Yeah, there's the Eastern Orthodox Catholic
Church. But once a religious organization reaches a certain point, they no longer are tax exempt and they have to pay taxes. And become part of the free market.
I see what you're saying.
But I understand that choice. I get it. Mine was fried chicken.
I just don't see why you had to choose one or the other. I don't see why you can't do both.
Maybe he had to go out for pizza. He wasn't having it just delivered. Maybe there was.
I guess he is remote, so maybe they don't deliver to him. I don't know. He is like he says, he is remote.
He may have gone to pick up pizza. Maybe he's one of those people that babysits the pizza that he's cooking in his oven. It could be that. You know how some people just can't leave the kitchen for the whole 30 minutes the pizza's cooking?
It's the whole watch pot never boils thing.
Right.
Yeah.
It really does, though, just FYI.
It does. I know. It will eventually. Yeah.
But no, I don't. No. Yeah. Once they reach a certain point where they have, they're bringing in a certain amount of money and wealth, that they should flip to a profit organization and be considered part of the free market. Their followers are considered subscribers, and then now that subscriber base, is going to support them through their donations,
Right.
and you're going to pay taxes on that.
So
But
obviously that's not going to exist in a libertarian society, mainly due to tax reasons.
Right.
Because
Well,
I mean, without the taxes being there, there's no difference in what you just said.
oh no, I'm just saying what we should do in our present system, but we can't. But I'm just saying that's what we should do.
I don't think that would be a good idea.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I have to ask, I say, there's a very fine line to me between a religious organization and a business. I'm just saying that motherfucker's
really
making he's making a lot of money off the business aspect of his religion, right? So why should he be exempt? Why shouldn't he be considered a business, not a religious organization?
He meets the
maybe that needs to be considered. Okay, you can't be considered a nonprofit organization anymore. You are considered a business because you are making profit, right? Because his salary probably gets fatter and fatter and fatter and fatter. and the budget to run the ministry probably gets fatter and fatter and fatter and fatter, enough to where he goes and he buys somebody's jet. Oh, but he got it he was practically giving it away. But I don't know. This I have a problem with. And so, knowing that
morally, I have a problem with it. It's just I wouldn't want to do anything to him legally. I don't want to throw him in a cage because he's done well with his life. Even if he's done immoral things to get there, like he's a wealthy guy. I don't want to punish that. Just because he was good enough to swindle stupid people. I mean, stupid people are going to exist no matter what. You can't stop stupid.
Well,
going to exist.
Yeah. So and that's really where it comes into me is the vehicle by which it's being used.
But I mean, you can't nerf the world. Robert. You can't.
Well, no, you can't nerf the world, but I don't know. I get it. I get what you're saying, but it just, if we can't, I guess you can't govern morals. You can't govn morals. Right. That's the fucking thing. That's the problem. It's so frustrating because I see people like that, because I grew up around, in communities where people listen to that kind of stuff, and I could never understand it. I was like, I always thought that I always looked around the Catholic church that I went to, and I was like, holy cow, this is not just some shack, right? I mean, it was a cathedral that we went to.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, because the Catholic church I went to was not like that at all.
Oh no, that was one thing. I mean, like it was a different building than most any other building in town. But yeah, the full, 30, 50 foot cathedral ceilings going all the way up, and rectories, and big marble statues, and floor to ceiling stained glass windows, depicting images and stuff. It was like the Catholic kind of church, right? Everything you expect.
See, in our Catholic church, that's not what we had, right? It was almost like a chapel. It was like long, but not very long and narrow. And then the stained glass windows were like midway up, and they covered from the wall would be like the first quarter, and then the ceiling would be like the second quarter, like to the ceiling. So it'd be like right about midway, and it was just the Stations Cross. That's what all the
but you were Southern
stained
Catholic.
glass windows were.
You were raised Southern Catholic.
Well, yeah, I mean,
right.
I was in
so
the South,
you were in old school churches.
Yeah.
See, I was in Oklahoma.
It was much smaller and less.
So when they built churches on their way heading out west, they started building them more and more elaborate, because you have to, you got to draw people in.
Well, you got to be able to fit the whole town into the church, because you only had the one. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, this one pulled from all around the area. Yeah,
right.
It was one of those situations.
Was there a bishop there? Because that might explain it.
They had a
that might explain why it was more ornate.
There was a nunnery there, or whatever you call it, a convent. There was a convent there, and we also had a school. They had a whole setup. So there, I don't know. Maybe we had a bishop.
My mom works at the school that's attached to the church.
Yeah.
That's where she works right now.
Oh, wow.
The same church that I went to, when I was young. She works at the school that's attached to it. There's a elementary through middle school. They don't have a high school, but elementary through 8th grade.
Are rulers still standard issue for the
No,
teachers?
no, they don't have nuns. No. Yeah, there's no nuns that are teachers, so they're not using rulers.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's
But obviously my mom would not be a nun, otherwise she'd be a very bad nun. Like,
so the long and short of it is we have a system right now that thoroughly protects religious organizations in doing exactly what Kenneth Copeland's organization does, and others,
right.
many of them across the country do. And even if we change to a libertarian society, like if we really moved into a more libertarian mindset, got hands off with government, it would just be the same thing. Like it's nothing would change. Gotcha. That's sad.
Not that nothing would change. It's not that nothing would change, right? They wouldn't be as protected, if that makes sense. Like they wouldn't be obviously they wouldn't be tax exempt because there wouldn't be a need for taxes. Um, but I think that you would see far less people falling for that kind of grift because in a libertarian society, at least, in order for libertarianism to come about, people had to be more aware of what's going on around them, other than like stupid people now, right? I mean, if you go broke, right, there's a safety net. You can go on welfare. Not that not that you want to, right? But you know, there's less risk, I guess, in putting your money in certain places than there would be in a libertarian society where it's like, oh, you're broke. Well, you're broke. I hope you got good friends, because I mean, otherwise, sorry, dude. I hope you have a charity around you somewhere that can help you out. That would be great. I hope you do. But like, there's no net to catch you automatically. You got to find that net.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, it's I just I think it sucks, John, and you're part of the problem.
Yeah, fair enough.
You're officially part of the problem. Hey, Ron says, see, I was right. The
You were right. Yeah,
pizza was in the next town over. Tastes better hot out of the oven.
I was right. I'm
Understandable.
the one who said that actually.
No,
Damn it.
no, I did.
No, I did. We both did.
No.
Someone did. Tell us who said it, guys.
Elephant Man says, Robert, only rich people were supposed to pay income tax.
You might have said that. You might have said it.
Anyone
Now
making
that I'm
4,000
thinking
per year or more. I think he's talking about back in the day.
Yeah. The income tax.
Helton says that pizza place is real popular, best pizza around, small mom and pop. Waited almost an hour for a pizza because it's always busy. Nice. He didn't wear a
Dude,
mask.
mom and pop
And
places
ate
are
in
the
the
way by
booth.
you madman.
It's
So
disgusting.
stunning. So brave. No, dude, mom and pop shops, I don't care what kind of food you're going for, mom and pop shops have the best food ever. Oh yeah.
So I would have to.
I like what is that Marie May Bigelow? I know I've said your name before, but I don't know how it's pronounced. If you could write it out phonetically, I'll make sure I pronounce it properly every time from here on out. But libertarians are political masturbators. 100% true.
Marie May Begolay. Marie May Begolay.
I guess I don't.
Begolette?
But yes, they for sure.
I can't tell if it's supposed to be
French. Libertarians are absolutely political masturbators. It's true.
Thing. Yeah.
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 Not even gonna try and deny that.
Yeah. You guys are just too easygoing. That's the thing. I mean, you got to take a stand sometimes.
No, that's not the case. There's lots of stands that are made.
No. You got to look out for the little guy sometimes.
Yeah, you can.
Think about all those poor little old ladies who are buying into something that they just don't understand. They just don't really see the truth.
Who was it? I can't remember who it was. The guy that got
He's
caught.
conning your grandmother.
Right, that's what I'm saying. The guy who got caught, who had the earpiece in his ear, but like his wife was feeding him information, and he kept being able to be like, "Oh, I know this name, and this person wants this thing from the Lord," and it's like, "Oh, he's prophetic," because like he knew, even though like the information was being fed to him. I can't remember what the guy's name was now. Um, but yeah, he was talking about how like you know you know basically paraphrasing, of course, saying things like there's no excuse not to give your tithes because we got this woman who she's on welfare and she's promised this amount of money and she pays it every time. She's having all these problems and she still pays her money. It's like, dude, that is not the fucking own you think it is. Like that is not looking good on you.
Right.
Like that's not. It's not like, oh, look how great I am that, or the Lord is that she's giving up the little tiny bit of money that she has.
Right. And
No, that looks horrible on you.
they prey on older people. Like
Well, yeah,
the
they're
ministries
typically more religious. I mean, at the end of your life, I can see why
yes,
you would be more religious. Of
right,
course, I don't for that.
absolutely,
Absolutely, I probably will be
right.
too. Shit,
But
yeah,
you know what else they have? They have a social security check coming
yeah,
in. They have a fixed income
exactly.
coming in, and you can finagle just a
It's reliable,
percentage. How much
right? It's
percentage of it,
reliable.
right?
Yeah, it's absolutely yeah. It's
You know,
fucked up.
and you make it worth you make it worth their while because
Well, you
on
give
these last
them
few stages of your journey through life,
yeah,
we're gonna help guide you to the promised land.
right.
And here's the irony: a lot of people that are that old don't really have much sinning in them left.
Not left.
Right? I mean, how much sinning are they going to get up to anyway? So
Actually,
it's not
I
like
don't know,
they have to
man.
like try and live a good life, you know? It's
There's
like there's not much other choice.
well, I mean, I don't know. There's a reason why there's an extremely high transference of STDs in the elderly community. I'm just saying, there's a lot of sediment going on more than you think. No one wants to
Well,
think about your grandfather or your grandmother getting busy, but
well, that's
you know,
it's a
they're doing
okay.
it.
Yes, there's a fair amount of them that are just looking for the bang forgiveness, right? Okay, I get it, but most of them are just like they're just living out their the last years of their life watching Family Feud and stuff and the ministry on TV and and oh,
Yeah, I
it's
know.
just like
Real quick, Elephant Man's calling me out. He said John is the actually guy. Yeah, it's true though. I'm not gonna try and deny it. I am the actually guy.
she
Not
says
only do I actually, but I also push my glasses back into place while I'm saying it. I'm like, actually. But yeah, no, I totally am. I'm definitely the actually guy.
yeah.
Got the neck beard and everything to prove it.
Marie says those old people are cashing in their dimes for a Hail Mary. Yes, they are.
That's a good one. I
Yes,
like
yeah,
that. That's a
yeah.
good joke. Yeah.
It's
I don't know if it's a joke, but like, yeah.
well, but and there's the beauty of it, right? That so much of this that's again that's where the con comes in. That's where they sell it to you. Is like, look, it's never too late to ask for forgiveness. All you have to do is ask for forgiveness,
Right.
right? But we're just going to convince you to keep asking forgiveness every week,
Well, that's because your
right?
fucking sinning ass keeps sinning. That's why.
Right.
You gotta keep
So, but
asking
if you
again.
ask forgiveness
Yeah.
in the right way and keep this ministry running, it'll all be forgiven. It's
Well, see,
all
though,
going to be
so how they
forgiven.
do it though, it's not like oh, you give us our money and you get to move. And your sins are forgiven because you give us money. Like that's not what they push, right? What they're pushing is like, look, we helped you out like this, right? Wasn't it great for you? This was really good for you. Well, help us reach more people
Right, right.
so
Support the
they can have the same
ministry, right? You got to
experience,
support
right?
the ministry so we can take this
Right.
out to those 122 million people out there that we've already brought into the fold.
Right, exactly. And it started with I don't know how many he started with, but it wasn't fucking a million. It wasn't
Right. Saint
1,000.
Saint
1,000.
Saint agrees that the highest concentration of STDs in the country is a retirement home, Florida. That is the Villages here in Florida. Just
Yeah, that's going to be
FYI,
the Villages.
that's
It's
about.
not just a retirement home. It is a retirement town.
It's a community.
It's an
Yes,
entire town
right.
of
I mean,
retired people. Like they have golf carts that
yes,
drive on the main streets, like on
yes,
regular roads.
commercial areas, this kind of
Yeah,
thing. And I mean, it's gotten large enough to where you have like the better parts of the Villages and the
right. You
on the
guys
other side of the
separation of the
tracks
classes.
villages, like
Yeah,
right, like they have on the other side of the tracks, they have their swingers parties on the front lawn, whereas over here we keep it behind closed doors.
right.
The Villages, yes, yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
and everybody's got goals. I'm just saying,
Yeah, dude. If you end up in the Villages as a retiree, you're not doing so bad. Sorry, like
right,
you did pretty well in life.
right.
It's a really nice area.
Right.
It is, yeah.
And if
Really
you
nice.
or your spouse is not into the lifestyle there, there's somebody there that will help you help convince you. They're bound to help you understand the beauty of the lifestyle in the Villages,
Yeah,
and it's
for the
only a
greater
small
good.
price. I mean, you know, what's a minor STD that you're gonna?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, yeah, you're just gonna have it for the rest of your life, but so is everybody else you're gonna be sleeping with in the next few
Right.
years. Just look around
Not
you,
only that, but what's the rest of your life? Like 3-4 years? Like you'll be all right.
right? And the baby,
In fact, most of the time, a shot of penicillin clears it right up.
I mean, and with
Like,
baby boomers, there's new ones that we're all. There's new people showing up every day, right?
yeah.
It's a trend. We're trending.
Boomers.
Elfman says you can't stack people on top of each other and expect them to be celibate. No, you can't.
Right, exactly. You can't. Yeah,
You can't expect it. You could ask, but
right. Yeah, you can request, but come on. Like,
I mean,
come on.
naked Twister only stays appropriate for so long. I'm just.
Right. Oh my
It
god.
is what it is.
I don't know that I'm gonna want. I don't even want to have Viagra when I get older. I think I don't
Oh,
know.
you don't have
Those
to have
wrinkly
Viagra. There's
ass,
like 5 different options.
whatever. But I'm saying any of those ED pills, like a wrinkly ass, saggy ass, titty ass. Oh my god, gross.
Oh, now
Oh.
come on. Some of those girls keep everything in place. Come on now.
All right, yeah.
I mean, besides, think about it
I'll have
like
to see when
this.
I get there.
When
But
you're
that's
like
my
80, if you're 80 years old, are you really going to be that choosy, John? Do you really think you're going to be that picky? Are your options going to be that widespread? Where you think you're walking into the
no.
cheerleaders
What I'm
locker
saying
room
is,
and
I
they're
just
all going
can't
to be
wait to
like,
be done with
"Ooh,
it.
Grampy's here."
That's what I'm saying. I can't wait to be done with it.
Done
Stop being
with it?
distracted. Yeah, stop being distracted by the fucking sex drive.
Marie says, "Let me tell you, there are 20 gals to one old man, and it gets crazy." Wait, are you from the Villages? Uh,
Yeah, that sounds like very specific. Like you
right,
kind of know what's going on.
right.
Oh.
Oh no, I mean, it's just last night. That was just last night. No, Saint. Oh, I'm sorry. A village still a cesspool of degeneracy. Is it degeneracy? I mean, what else have you got to do when you're retired? If you retire and you're just and it's like
You're not
I don't know
working anymore. What are you doing?
what
I mean, yeah, our generation, you and I's generation, saying, yeah, we'll be playing video games and not giving a fuck. But like people who didn't grow up with that stuff, people who aren't into that, what they do? They worked. Now you're not doing that anymore. What else
I
you got to do?
I
You
can
either worked or you fucked, and now you're done working.
right
So what do you got to do left? What else is there on the table?
right.
Like
But I
that's
mean,
it.
think about it. Even you coming up in the being a video game generation, I can promise you, you go live someplace like that, there will be people distracting you. There'll be neighbors coming. Still coming. Hey,
Yeah.
hey,
I would be like
John.
that.
Can you show me that game you're playing? I
Oh, see,
never
I would
did
be
get
like,
into them when I was younger, but now I'm kind of curious. And do you mind if my 3 friends come along? We were drinking some mimosas, and
that could actually happen. Yeah, I
we
can see
were
that
with
happening.
shots of Bengay, and so we were thinking.
Shots, because you got to make the inside of your insides are sore, and you got to be like,
Right.
yeah, shots of Bengay.
Marie says being mobile is the big deal. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Elvin,
sexy fuck being mobile. Yeah.
Elfman says, as long as you take care of yourself, the older you get, the softer your skin gets. Some of these
but also the more saggy it gets.
Right. Helton says some of these gals take good care of themselves. I agree. I mean, trust me. Remember the women that are starting to hit retirement age now are some of those first generations that were really hit with the commercialism of sexiness and makeup and toned bodies and this, that, and the other. The fitness generation are all starting to hit those older years now. So, and they've been keeping it up. The last generations before the obesity really set in. Not that, it's a, pandemic.
It's a bad thing, but it's inevitable what's going to happen. Just because you get older doesn't mean that you're going to stop, having the same desires we had before.
Marie says she has a grandmother, so she visited her grandmother a lot. Yeah. So yeah,
I visit my grandmother pretty often too.
Wow.
Well, not like that.
Jeez. Well, you just made it seem like that.
The euphemism of, I can't hang out with you guys. I gotta go visit my grandmother.
All I saw was all I saw was you throwing up an eggplant emoji. Is all I went about talking about your grandmother.
No, it's just like when a girl tells you she doesn't want to hang out with you, it's because she's got to call her grandmother and she's got to wash her hair right after. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you're like, oh, okay, I got the hint. Kind of like that when you're like, hey, I gotta go visit my grandmother, and it means you're gonna go,
right.
A hooker.
Right.
Usually, what that means.
Marie says the old men get all the attention because they are few and far and few.
TikTok. Yeah, that's true. Because men typically die first. Fucking women like to nag all the damn time. Nagging ass women just want to die to get away from me. No, I'm just kidding. Oh my god.
What if?
I can see it though. After like 30 years of that, or 50 years of that, you're like, all right, I'm done with this fucking bullshit. I'm out.
Wait a minute.
I get it.
Wait a minute. If the ratio is like 20-1, what if there's a conspiracy going on in the villages and all the women have conspired to fuck all the men there to death, and that's why there's fewer men there?
Dude,
and why they
fuck yeah.
Maybe that's what's going on there. Marie, we need to talk to your grandmother. We need you to do some research for us.
If you could die of a crushed pelvis, that would be amazing.
Wouldn't it be great if we could blow the top off of this?
Right? Because we'll get the scoop.
A lot of these would be women's livers from the the 70s and 80s. All of that going on. So maybe this is first wave feminism lashing out in the final years.
Oh God, that means it's gonna be horrible when I'm old as fuck. No. It's not like we got like
you won't get they're not gonna bother fucking you to death.
Right, they're just gonna slit your throat instead because you're a fucking man. Like, oh my God. Especially as a white straight man, dude, I'm fucked. I can't go to a nursing home now.
Marisa, dig her up. I don't. Sorry. I guess that means that's why she doesn't go visit her grandmother anymore. Is that what dig her up
maybe
means?
That's.
Sorry. Maybe. I condolences then.
If that's the case, then yeah, condolences for sure.
But hopefully she enjoyed her retirement in the villages.
Nursery home. Yeah, I know. I fucked it up. I fuck up words. When you talk a lot, you fuck up words once in a while.
I wonder if there's like a group of people in the villages that they've labeled TOTFs.
What?
I said I'm wondering.
Reading the chat.
I said I wonder if there's a group in the villages that they've labeled the TOTFs.
Okay, hang on. TOTF. I know. TOTF. All right, you're gonna have to give it to me.
Too old to fuck.
Too old to fuck. Maybe like if they have a heart condition, you can't take ED pills. So maybe they'll blacklist those people. Which I mean, who cares at that point, right? I mean, you're you're too old to fuck. You're not getting it up. You don't have a sex drive. I imagine. And so then you're like, all right, well, fuck it, I'm gonna go play bridge or hearts or something. I don't know, spades, whatever thing you're playing.
Well, I still, I still tip my hat to little Miss Mary next door. 99 years old.
Yeah,
She'll be 100 years old this year, and she's living by herself, doing her own thing. She still takes herself out to dinner 4 or 5 nights a week
god
with her
damn,
sister and her friends. Still goes and does her thing, hauls ass
dude. I
down the
hope she
road.
makes it to the big triple digits, man. I hope
Yeah,
she does.
yeah. There's no reason she shouldn't. She just, I mean, she really hasn't changed that much in the last 3 plus, going on 4 years we've lived here. It's just like she's just plodding along, keeps going, keeps going, keeps
She's
going.
still driving, right?
Oh yeah, every day.
That's insane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she
What's
doesn't
funny
play.
is my mom told me to take her license away when I turned 40. So I told her on my 30th birthday, I was like, you got 10 years left. I was like, you got 10 years of your license. Enjoy them. She told me that when I was like, I think when I got my license is when she told me that. And like, it hasn't come up until my 30th birthday when I was just like, yeah, you got 10 years left. Enjoy them. She's like, oh.
Elfman says friend of his was worried about his aunt because she was drinking her Social Security check away every month.
Yeah.
They put her in a home. She died 2 months later at 92 years old.
Hey, that's
Um,
pretty good. 92 is a good run, dude. That's a good run. I can't imagine getting to that old. So if the fact that she did, fucking tip of the hat to her, man. That's yeah, hell yeah.
I think when my mother died, there was a scam that went on when my mother died. Like
Yeah.
we knew that we knew she was in a um, because my mother had, she had converted to the Muslim religion in
Mhm.
her last few years, but she was at a health facility, a Muslim run care facility. But we knew that she was sick, but we weren't told that she had passed away till
Right.
3 days after she passed away, and they had buried her.
Right.
And I'm like, you're kidding me, right? She passed away and you buried her before you ever alerted any family. Oh well, her
Yeah.
phone, we didn't. No, so something shady happened there. It pisses me off. But
Yeah. No, absolutely. But real quick, I'm about to piss myself, so I'm gonna go
oh
do
well,
that
I was going to go ahead and
before.
wrap this up. I think you could wrap up. But you can hold it. You're
Yeah,
good.
I can wrap up because that's what
Yeah,
we're gonna do. We
we
have
gotta.
more chat stuff to go through. I don't
Uh,
want to like
well,
not have it. So if you want to go through the chats real
well,
quick,
fine,
then I'll be
John.
back
If you're going to
and
be
wrap it
such a
up.
little baby about it. But Helen says my mom died at home with my sister and brother there. My dad came to live with me and died here of heart attack. My grandparents lived with their kids until they died. One of my grandmothers stayed with us until her death from cancer. We don't have any strangers take care of our family members. That is obvious. You see, I've not ever had those kind of bonds with my family. In fact, my aunt. My aunt, actually my sister by adoption, because my grandparents adopted me when I was a young child, but contacted me out of the blue. It's been 30 years plus since I've talked to her. I never knew what happened to her after she moved. Actually, it's probably been 40 since I've talked to her. And But like most of my family, no, not a lot of communication except a little bit here once in '96 when I came to Florida and actually met my mother's side of the family. So of course my cousin and stuff, but I don't know. Those kind of ties to family are just sometimes they're a little bit alien to me. But I can't imagine, in understanding how those ties are supposed to be, how, I understand when there's medical difficulties that make it impossible to care for someone at home, but people that, just here, we'd rather you go live in a retirement community than stay with us. I don't know. Or in assisted care. I should probably say assisted care because retirement communities are a little more independent than assisted care. But I don't know. It would be troubling, I would take the same approach, I think, that I do with children. I don't want people out there raising children in daycares and schools and stuff. Parents need to be raising the kids, or grandparents, family needs to be doing that.
Yeah.
But um, I think the elderly are the same way. I mean, if you have that kind of bond and relationship, it's kind of on you to kind of take care of them. I don't know. I mean, John, don't you feel a certain level of responsibility to help take care of your parents when they get old?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, either of them are welcome to stay with me so long as I'm able to.
Yeah.
You know, as long as I'm able to provide for them. Yeah,
Are you sure
absolutely.
you wouldn't just throw them in a home, John?
No,
Hmm.
and knowing them both, no, that they're not going to let that happen. Like, no.
Marie says, no, excuse me, Elephant Man says, saying my mom is with her younger brother because dad died. My father-in-law lives with me. Marie says we've some elders. We have some elders want to stay with family, and some who wanted to be with people their own age. Right,
Fair
and
enough. If they want to, then
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just when you start getting into the level that starts to have concern for me is assisted care facilities. When you're not going to have 100% or close to 100% liberty or freedom, in an assisted care facility, you start to limit that for people.
Right.
And when you start mixing humans in with that, in control of other humans, then of course you see the things that go on in these types of, the horror stories. Not that that's
Right.
100% or anything like that. I get it, but yeah, I
Not only
just.
that, but there's plenty of times where an elderly person will stay with their family and they're not treated very well either.
Hmm.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
yeah,
it
that's
kind
true.
of just, yeah. So it really just depends on who you have,
Yeah,
not just whether they're related or not.
yeah. Uh,
I say actually, Elephant Man's right. The actually guy. Actually,
Helen says, I met one of my grandfather's cousins in Pensacola in 2004 when I worked a storm there. He was 102 and remembered my grandfather. Wow. Elephant Man says they took care of you for 18 years,
mm-hmm.
change your diapers for at least 2, take care of your elders.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
yeah, and and now something like what you just said, John. That does, sometimes your elders are pieces of shit. And
Oh
I
yeah,
get it.
sometimes they
I
are.
get
Yeah,
it. And like if somebody came to me and asked me to take care
absolutely.
of my
Yeah.
grandfather or my father, I'd be like,
Yeah.
probably not. Probably not. I don't.
Right. Yeah. You don't owe them. Yeah, you don't owe them that necessarily. I mean, I get that. Yeah, they took care of you for 18 years.
If it's a good strong family
Yeah,
household,
yeah.
like if it's it does it is a responsibility in a sense, because you most in that situation you can't really imagine doing it any other way, right?
Right.
Whereas in the kind of household that I grew up in, a lot of people who do grow up in, it's like, oh, I couldn't even imagine fucking spending
Right. And
their
if that's
last
the
few
case,
years together. Fuck that, no way.
yeah, if they don't fulfill their obligations to you in your early childhood or your childhood in general, then you don't owe them taking care of them in their
Right.
elderly, stage. Of course. Yeah.
uh, Marie says they live a long time down here, I've noted. Are you does that mean you're in the same penis extension of the country that we're in here in the Florida zone, Marie? I mean, we're not trying to out you. We don't want you to dox yourself or anything, but if you're, if you're familiar with the rat that runs this state, nod your head. Uh, Elton says
Yeah.
he was still living in his own house. Some of his grandkids moved in with him to look after him. He's talking about his grandfather's
Grandfather's
cousin.
cousin, I
Yeah.
believe. Yeah.
Exactly, Elephant Man. That is how we view it as well. See, that's that strong family
Yeah.
unit you want. That's the kind of world that you want, so that you don't have to have Social Security taking care of the elderly. People are doing out of
Well, what it
the
is.
family responsibility, the care responsibility that is
So
built.
yes, and the Social Security check at that point for a lot of families. alleviate some of the financial burden that it takes to take care of an elderly person. The Medicare was it Medicare or Medicaid, whichever one it is for like old people. I forget which one it is now.
Medicaid.
Medicaid, yeah, is the one that it helps with some of the medical bills that it takes to keep living as an old person, and then of course feeding them and clothing them. You're giving them, presumably giving them a bedroom that you could otherwise use for something else. Social Security kind of smooths some of that financial burden. I get it. Um, so while it's around, yeah, I mean, absolutely use it. Take that security check and use it obviously for the care of that person. I wouldn't say use it for whatever you want. Don't use it for your car payment or whatever. But
Right. Well,
yeah, just use it to ease some of that financial burden.
well, that's maybe we should talk about that on a future topic. Is the catastrophic event that is coming? I would say I'll give it 30 years, maybe one more generation phasing through before we are actually at that point where we have a large demographic of elderly people, like we do, right? We have quite a few elderly people, but no Social Security.
Yeah.
And no nest eggs and savings because so many people, the amount of people that are able to save money at this point in time is much smaller than it has been in the recent past, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, because you can't afford to as much
So
anymore.
so you're gonna there's gonna be a major catastrophe going on when you suddenly have a large portion of the population that can't really work, can't earn money, and don't have any money coming in. What the fuck do you do with that sector of the population? Especially knowing that it's also not a situation where everybody's going to be like, "Oh, I'll take my mom in and my dad in,
Right.
and my
Well, they'll be putting
grandparents in."
government like subsidized homes, which of course would be absolute garbage.
Horror shows.
Yeah, 100%. It would
That'd be
be.
like getting a life sentence in prison, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's where we're headed. With increasing amount of government control and then government support. I put in air quotes. Government support in air quotes again.
You know,
um,
yeah. Well,
yeah. I mean, it's gonna be fucking horrible.
the housing industry came up with a solution, right? So, and Marie kind of talked about it. Mentioned it, touches on it a little. She said they're triple mortgages, but it's the reverse mortgage. And basically, once you reach a certain age, you've got your house, you get a reverse mortgage on it, and basically they just pay you for your house up until you die, and then they get it. Whoever the mortgage company is that's reversing it on you, but they basically buy your house from you till and till you're dead.
Hey, I mean, if you don't, that's some free market shit right there. Because if you don't have any kids or anything to give that house to, what do you care what happens to the house after you die? I get it.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap this shit up. You just keep running off at the mouth, and
Yeah, I do.
Just FYI, if now come forward in your chair just a little bit, not too far. Back up. Oh, no. You're way too far. Whenever I say too far, keep going and go back to where you were. Now, right about there. Now, swing just a little bit to your right. There you go. Just your right, John.
This is my right.
Really? So your camera's flipped. Okay, to your left.
I guess so.
Because I was like, back up a little. So anyway, if you sit just right in the middle, you get yourself some nice horns from our logo there. You were looking very satanic when you were talking about some shit that really, fucked people over. Yep, yeah.
Damn.
But anyway, have fun with that. Anyway, can you tell these wonderful people who are listening to us ramble on where they can talk to us more and watch for our show announcements, et cetera, et cetera?
Absolutely. I would love to. In fact, I couldn't imagine a greater pleasure than doing so. So, if you scroll down past the like button, button that you've already hit, and subscribe button that you've already hit. You can find the description. You'll see all of our links to everything, including our Twitter at the GenGapP. You can find our Discord server, where there's a lot of fun conversation that happens, including voice conversations with either me and or Robert, depending on the time and whatever's going on. So lots of conversation going on over there. Also, you'll get our notifications before we go live. So in case YouTube doesn't send them out, you'll get them from there. Then we've got our subscribe star. So if you like us or what we're doing, or both, hopefully.
I like us.
I like us, especially me. You can support us there, and we'll be able to do even more of these shows, and you'll get special perks that are only available to subscribe star subscribers, I suppose, what they're called. So yeah, there's like 3 different tiers there. You can go and check them out, see which one you like best, and give the appropriate amount to get that perk, and have a good time with it. Then we've got freedomscoop.com, where you can find all of our stuff and other lesser and unimportant creators like Jay Edgar, Stephen Ignoramus, Wyatt from The Breakdown with Bernhoff, Already Conservatives over there, and Freckles and Pritt Show is over there as well. And while you're over there, make sure you buy our merch. We got t-shirts, we got mugs, we got all that cool stuff. Make sure you check those out, get you some. And what do you do? Put the promo code GenGap in at checkout. You get 15% off your purchase. And yes, Ron Helton, I know that's what is it? Trains, Planes, and Automobiles. So I know that's the movie that you were referencing.
I like me.
I like me. Yeah, that was a great little monologue he had. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Really good acting.
Awesome movie. I watched that not too long ago. It's one of those movies that I just kind of, all right, I'll sit and watch this one more time.
Oh, really? It's been a while.
No, I have old movies
it's been a while
like
since
that.
I've seen it.
When I see them on, I'll be like, I'll watch it. But anyway, so we'll be coming at you with at least 3 more shows is what the plan is right now. At least 3 more. So we're not going anywhere for a little while, but we'll be back on Monday. As far as I know, just bear with. We're going to start roughly around 9:30. Just understand, I might have a grandchild around, so
right.
Got to get her down for her night before I can get online.
Monday night show may or may not happen, or may not be a different time.
Right. Well, 9:30 to 10ish. We'll put an ish in there. No, but technically we'll be shooting for 9:30 p.m. on Monday for our Fill in the Gap show. Hopefully we'll have maybe some humorous stuff to show you that'll kind of give you something in the start of your week to make you feel a little bit better about the insanity that's heading your way. But we'll be back again on Wednesday at 9:30 as well for a nice little episode of Shooting the Shit. And of course, we'll be back again next Friday as well at 8:30 p.m. for another standard episode like you've seen tonight. All of those times are the Eastern time zone, the one and only true time zone, not to be confused with any of the others who are, as we all know, posers. And I want to give much love again to everybody who showed up in the chat tonight. Thanks for stopping by and talking to us and keeping us entertained with your wonderful stories and knowledge and your love. Your love means so much to us. We're going to get the hell out of here. And until the next time we see you, have yourselves a wonderful night and stay safe out there. Peace out, everybody.
Yep, see you guys.
The war will begin.